see?
I see.
I knew it was something special about this thing from the beginning.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why I stuck with it. Telling the truth,
There's
a certain level of pride that comes with this. So we gon' finish strong, proud, and resilient. This is muddy water. We keep it moving through the muddy water. Swerving hard through the muddy water. With a cup full of muddy water. Jumping out the muddy water. Pumping out the muddy water. We build bricks with this muddy water. Put them filters down, this is raw and uncut. And ain't no chaser with this mud, just straight to the good. I say we going live, he say nigga what's up. I say we getting high, he say nigga roll up. Another topic of discussion, a conversation piece. Monumental black boom born out of necessity. Now put them cups up, make a toast and feed on this recipe. Wise words, this is poor righteous teaching. From a rich type feature, adding wealth to my creature.
They make for enjoyment.
Okay, I like
I don't
cookies.
do that all. You might as well eat salad, sugar-free shit.
Oh, yeah, see ya.
That's my approach to it.
All right, man. Sure, I'm ready. So, we back once again, and to start things off, I just want to introduce our guests. With the concerning like the demonization of certain acts of traditions and heritage in today's times in correlation to history's mysteries. We agree that calling out things through experience and added conversations is important to healing. So here at Muddy Water, we aim to bring that relationship to life. By that, we bring the life and times of our guest today who has expertise and experience in such areas that we have come to realize are vital to the well-being of many. But since we're in America, that's where we're going to start. Ms. Davis makes that reality with her knowledge in, 5 years of Reiki and 30 plus years in mental health. With her education, she aims to extend that to her community and abroad. So, Ms. Deirdre Davis, my first question to start this off is, what is Reiki and holistic living to you?
Okay, so first off, Reiki is a Japanese form of energy healing. And the teacher that I study under is Master Asui's technique. And so what we learned with Reiki is that everything pretty much is energetic. Us breathing, us walking, our heartbeat, everything has a energetic component to it. So if we're diagnosing and working on different ailments and trying to cure things, you want to start at the basis, which is the energetic cause for that thing.
Right.
For instance, a lot of people have childhood trauma that we haven't addressed in the community, especially in the Black community. A lot of things happen to us as children that we were taught just to suppress and keep on the inside. Well, when things like that happen, we develop these energetic wounds or blockages, and they get trapped into the body. So if you do not know how to process that energy, deal with that energy, release that energy, it just becomes stuck and it grows with you as you grow, as you mature or not mature because of that blockage. And so we learned about the chakras in Reiki. The chakras, which represent your energy bodies inside of your physical bodies.
Right.
And so we have 7 of those. Your crown, you have your third eye, you have your throat, you have your heart, your solar plexus, your sacral, and your root. And so, like I said, we start at the root. The chakra start at the root and go up. So when we're talking about illnesses in the community, specifically the black and brown and red communities, it goes back a lot to our childhood traumas, and not only our childhood traumas, but our parents and our grandparents, and that becomes the generational traumas that we carry because they're energy blockages. So a lot of people present with cancers and ulcers and migraines. Mine presented as sciatica, a sciatic nerve injury. It's been presented as bipolar disorder. And these was diagnoses that I was given by doctors. And so studying myself, because that's where everything starts with yourself, you study yourself. I was like, okay, it's deeper than this. So I started Googling and reaching. Back then, it wasn't even a Google. It was literally going to the library, getting different books, Deepak Chopra, that looks at the psyche and deeper, into your soul consciousness, that I realized these things were correlated. Working in the mental health community, I've always worked with people who was diagnosed with schizophrenia. And one of my jobs was sometimes just to observe them, make sure they don't hurt themselves. So I sit and I listen to actually what they were saying.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it was arguments with spirits or deities that they could see. I just couldn't see them.
Because of the blockages.
Not necessarily because of the blockages, but because we're all spiritual beings. And some of us are more in tune with our spiritual abilities in the spiritual realm than we are the physical realm. So when you're more in tune with the spiritual realm, you present with a lot of mental health issues. Because you're struggling spiritually and mentally. You don't know how to separate sometimes what's good from what's bad. So that's why a lot of times you see schizophrenics depicted as these evil people who could hurt you, which it could be true if they're in a crisis, that they're not aware that they're in a crisis. You think they're in a reality. You see what I'm saying? That's here, but not spiritually. You see, so they battling and they going through all these different things. So it presents as mental health. And it wasn't until I actually was seeing a therapist myself, and she told me that I was an empath. And that's why I was presenting with bipolar symptoms. Because as an empath, I'm absorbing everybody's energies around me. And so I didn't know it.
What's an empath?
An empath is somebody who is very sensitive to energies and spirits, even demons. And that's why a lot of people, like I said, end up in crisis because we're so, I don't want to say open, but empaths are just so sensitive. It's just, that's the best you understand. So sensitive, sometimes you can't even help it. And if you can't help it and you don't know that it's your sensitivities that's causing all these things.
You're going with it. You have to go with it.
You just run with the flow.
We all kind of open though.
We're very open. I'm saying, but some of us have
we got these portals.
Yeah.
These portals.
These antennas.
We
do. So we are open. That's why I didn't want to use that word, because open is not the word. What I was saying was some people are open to the point that they can't ground themselves. So again, here go all these symptoms and all these crises that they find themselves in. Because they can't ground themselves, they're so open, they're just able to go with the flow.
So let me ask you this, and then we can move on to more stuff. But how does that come together with
the Reiki?
No, with what's the word I'm looking for? What they call it when you when it's passed down from generation
Genetic.
Genetics.
Like
hereditary.
Hereditary. Does that? What is hereditary? I mean, something being hereditary, is that?
You have to look at these definitions that we've been taught, and then the ones that we kind of come to know. So energy transferences, generational curses.
Epigenetics and all that.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to call it, it is an imprint. You know what I'm saying? Just like we have, heard about the Akashic Records. We got all this information and knowledge just imprinted in us. It ain't nothing that we have to learn or be taught. It's just there. It's just there because it's passed down, through ancestral.
So a lot of things we just do instinctively.
Yeah, that's why mental illnesses run in family. Just like diabetes and high blood pressure and everything else, because the traumas are the same in that family. So then the symptoms present the same. I was just talking to this lady earlier, and we was talking about eating. For the month of October, I'm not eating any meat. I haven't ate beef or pork for a while, a couple of years. And now I'm challenging myself on chicken, fish, turkey, stuff like that. And I mastered cigarettes a couple of months ago, which was big to me. You know what I'm saying? I was smoking for 30 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So, but I like to challenge myself just to see. And I know that with challenging myself, it's only going to make me better,
Character.
Yeah, because I'm out here advocating a healthy lifestyle for people. So I got to practice it. I have to show people. I can't just tell people.
Yeah, it can't be hypocrite.
Right. And you want to be able to make an impact, a positive impact.
Right.
And the only way you can do that is by example.
Right. We are hypocrites though.
Huh?
Now, okay, so
You said what?
In one way or another, capacities and such, hypocrites and all that. Yeah, I was just thinking about how I be being a hypocrite.
So the whole Reiki thing. You said it's Japanese?
Yes.
It's Japanese. Like I said, we in America. So how does that, go with the American thing?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It absolutely doesn't. And that's the great thing about Reiki. It goes against what America taught us that healthcare is. You know what I'm saying? Japanese people don't just run back and forth to the hospital, to the doctors. You know what I'm saying? We're the only country that does that.
Well, let's clarify that real quick. So it's like, I don't disagree with what you just said. Mm-hmm. Like, it ain't necessarily that. Like, this whole new medical system is new. Last couple, maybe 100 years, maybe 200 years, they changed it all to this whole way of doing it now. Because we talking holistic, and you got, what's the opposite?
Traditional medicine,
Yeah, I
the
guess
approach that they
traditional.
use now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's another word, I just can't think of it. But, that was a good question Sanchez asked, because as American, medicine is dictated now, it is against it. But like I say, 100 years ago, 20 years ago,
It was different.
yeah, it was in line with Reiki,
It was.
And I don't know how
Okay.
old Reiki is.
I think that's what you going to where my next question was.
Yeah, so,
What was it before?
right.
Yeah.
What did American?
You said it was in line with Reiki.
Because it was about,
You think the first people here used
Organic,
to what?
natural,
Used to get into
natural
the
healing.
tents? Or this is what they show us.
The Indians, they
They
use
just
smoke.
smoke and get in the tents and get into the steam
They use
room.
the elements.
Yeah.
Holistic healing
is using that.
is using the elements that God, the Creator, the Most High, the Source, the Universe, the Most
Whatever
High,
you wanna
whatever you
call it.
want to call it,
Right.
created.
Right.
It's simple. It's not. People overthink it.
And that's a beautiful point, because it's all how it's supposed to be. Like, animals don't go to doctors and shit. Like, they don't get sick unless we do something.
She brought us some gifts.
But animals don't get sick, so it must not be that complicated.
We overcomplicate it.
Right.
They've taught us to think instead of just go with what we know.
Except what they tell you.
Except what they tell you. That's why they start indoctrinating us so young.
Right.
And that's part of the problem. Us having to unlearn and relearn So these babies, and in my case, my grandbabies,
Have a chance.
yes, will have a chance that we can get out of the perpetual cycle of doing the
health.
same thing generation after generation after generation after generation. You know?
Driving us crazy.
And that's a good
Yeah.
point too. Like it was maybe 2 generations ago where like my grandmother's old. My great grandmother died old. They were doing something right to be living as long as they did, as healthy as they are.
They was farming.
Yeah.
I mean,
sweating.
up until they left the planet, like until they couldn't farm anymore. They stayed active. They constantly grew their food, even if they were eating meats, and they had their own cattle. They had their own. Yeah, they knew where it came from. They weren't polluting the skies with chemtrails. They weren't spraying things, and now you don't have any fruits and vegetables that's growing, or like we can't find
He been talking
a
about
peach
this
tree, a
big
pear tree, a pecan tree. Like,
So-
where did everything go? Like, just
what you
40
think about
years
that?
ago when I was a kid, we had it.
Yeah.
It's a plan. It's the same plan to me. Like, it's an ongoing plan. So they're gonna do different things to us. They've been started with the food. We're just now realizing it because, like I just said, where's the peach trees and the pear trees and the apple trees that we had access to when we were kids?
Walking down the side of the road.
Like, you could not run into a fruit or some type of nut tree. You couldn't help it.
Right there on the side of the road.
Was allergies as bad back then? You think that might have something to do with that?
I mean, but I think that along with the chemtrails, it's doing what it's supposed to do. I'm a gardener. So, we need plants and flowers and pollen and bees and all that for our gardens to grow and, get pollinated the way we need them to produce fruits and stuff like that.
What about that concept of male trees? And that's the thing, like, you don't see it until decades later, the result. But over time, they had to be doing something different. And, how they explain the pollen is because it's a bunch of male trees. Pollen would be the semen. So if there were fruit trees growing abundantly 30, 40 years ago, had to be some female trees. What happened to that whole, like, was it a systematic changing from male and female to all male trees? Now everybody got allergies. Pollen is crazy, and ain't no fruit trees. And the fruit that they are now offering ain't the same fruit.
Not without seeds.
Yeah, it's like they just got rid of the real shit and replaced it with some whatever.
So that kind of answers the question itself. Of course they done plant. We didn't see it as kids.
Right.
When we was kids, they wasn't always out just spraying stuff.
Doing shit all the time.
Right.
And you
like,
just assume, well, they doing something for the city.
yeah, 40 years ago, they was actually spraying crops with water or whatever they said. You know what I'm saying? But now, or were they? Now, where's the crops? Where's the fruit trees and stuff? Everything is being managed.
Just like grass. Everybody got grass, which is cool, but yeah. Like, it only makes sense at this point. We're gonna have to change over at some point, like, because now we're at the point where it was like we don't have our own, we just go buy it. But now it's like buying it don't even make sense because it costs so much. Mm-hmm. But still, we have grass and shit. I mean, it's just like.
Well, in Las Vegas,
like
they're
forcing us to
banned
do
from
the right
having
thing.
grass.
Oh, yeah.
It's against the law to have grass or plants and all this stuff because they can't afford the water shortage to water
Right.
it. So they can't, But that's part of. Who would want to live in a state where you can't grow your own vegetation in case of an emergency? You see, like, it don't make sense to me.
You don't have a choice.
And that's where
Right, and they don't want you to have a choice. They want
in
us to
Las
be
Vegas.
dependent. That's in Las Vegas.
it's starting on the West Coast.
You see what I'm saying? So, and they don't want. That's the point. They don't
How
want
they got
us
a water
to.
shortage though, but they got like some of the biggest dams out there, right?
How do they have a water shortage and it rains?
all the time. And they got irrigation systems.
What they doing?
They
Stealing
got
the water?
yeah. What would they?
I don't know. That's just my assumption.
Why would they? Okay, so like the whole food thing, you hear about BG. I ain't gonna call out nobody names for but BG done bought up all the farmland in the whole world.
Oh, Bill Gates.
Yeah, him.
Oh, that's
We don't care nothing about calling out names, nigga. Matter of fact, as y'all come into this video, when y'all checking this out, like, share, follow on YouTube.
Yeah, we
Muddy
should have
Water.
went live, man.
Oh yeah, she said she didn't mind going live.
We could have took questions and stuff. Yeah, ain't no big deal.
We can do it again later or another time. We have a part 2 or something.
All right.
Because we gonna get everything in.
Right.
Not the way my mind works.
Right. Okay, so we covered
Anything else you want to say about the Reiki or anything?
I think people should give it a try. I think that we've given modern medicine,
Oh yeah, what exactly is it?
Reiki. So what Reiki does is recognizes. First, I recognize that I'm an energy being. Then I recognize that you're an energy being. And so I use my hands and a pendulum to actually check the energy that's in the 7 chakras that I listed earlier. The chakras that run from your crown to your root. And so...
What is the pendulum? What does
the
that
pendulum. The pendulum is something like...
that's that thing.
That's the little thing with the point that I hold over
that you
you.
held it.
Yeah, and
So
it'll
it's-
spin and it'll tell me if there's energy present there or
Okay.
if there's a blockage.
No, I was
it
just
won't
saying because I
spin.
just used that word for something a couple of days ago.
Okay, and so you can use a pendulum from different things. I'll read energy, but that's how I check the energy in your body, and then I use my hands to make certain hand motions and gestures that we learn in Reiki that helps unblock those energy blockages and release them from the body. And me, I go into like a meditative state and I work with the energy and I work with the client. And if I recognize it, like with Reiki, you can even pinpoint years that trauma has occurred in a person. So I may check someone and say, hey, your sacral chakra is blocked. Did you experience any type of childhood trauma when you were 8 or 9 years old? And all of a sudden they just cry and they release and they was like, yeah, I was abused by a family member, or I was raped or something happened along that time. And as we're processing that, they're actually releasing. As they're crying, they're actually releasing. They're admitting and processing, this happened to me. They're letting it out of their body. And that's what we want to do with Reiki. We want to release those blockages. We want to talk about it. Like I said, my background comes from mental health.
I want to talk about that the transition. Like you were saying, it's one thing to go to a therapist when you're not familiar with the process. It's another thing to be trained to be a therapist. I don't know if all therapists have to go to therapy, but
I would say most don't.
yeah, to be on both sides, to have been on both sides, and it's like you constitute somebody, saying you're an empath, so you have a whole different perspective on it. But just the having been referred to or decided to go however it went to therapy for yourself and working on the opposite side, like did you do it like for an institution, for like a institution first, or were you always doing it for yourself?
No, so I started mental health as actually working in the field with children. And it was kind of accidental. I thought I was signing up for a daycare. Oh my goodness. I was in for a deep, rude awakening. It was just not a daycare, you know. And this was my first time ever realizing, and I don't know what it was, because by now I was probably in my early 20s at this point. But it was my first time realizing things like kids 8, 9, 10, 12 years old couldn't read. That parents would really abuse and neglect their kids, because what I thought was a daycare ended up being a program for at-risk kids who were already diagnosed at that point, ADHD, you know, they had been in and out of trouble, things like that. They had been removed from their families, you know. So it was my first glance into anything like that ever. Like, I kind of grew up in a bubble. I told you earlier, my dad was a preacher, so him and my mom was a teacher, so they kind of just kept me in this little bubble. So everything I learned, sheltered. But once I got of that age, and I was like, okay, I'm busting out of this bubble. Like, life started teaching me immediately life lessons.
So you got a position that you thought was a daycare?
I thought I was applying for a daycare. I didn't realize until, I guess they were desperate because, like I said, they were at-risk kids, so they presented with a lot of behavioral problems and challenges, and things would get physical, you know. So they had a high turnover rate. I realized that once I got there.
So you thought you were going to be
babysitting
with normal, quote-unquote, normal kids.
Right, yeah.
And you kind of
Turned into something else.
thrown into a situation. So how did that go?
I fell in love with it. It just became a passion of mine. You know, I felt honored that God would even give me the privilege to be able to work with those kids and make a difference in their lives for the better.
What was the beginning like, though? The initial
it was
introduction, like
it was shocking.
realizing what you were in, kind of.
Like I said, it was shocking, but it wasn't overwhelming or overbearing, because even as a child, I had my gifts and I was empathetic, you know. So it was just like I just remember praying at an early age. My daddy taught me how to pray. We'll talk about that later too. But he taught me how to pray early. So I prayed one day, and I was like, I was one of those teenagers who felt hopeless and suicidal. I think it was from my own childhood trauma. So at an early age, I prayed, and I was like, God, you got to give me some type of purpose. Because if not, I don't want to be here. Like, the experiences I had up until the point I was 17, 18 years old, I was ready to go. I was ready to leave. But it wasn't until I asked, you know, like, tell me what it was all for. Why did I have to go through these things? You know what I'm saying? Give me a purpose. And if you give me a purpose, you know what I'm saying, then I won't do nothing to myself. That was between me and God.
Right.
You know? And he kind of just woke me up and made me a very empathetic person. He let me know that I was different, you know, and it was okay. I remember being a little girl communicating with my ancestors, and nobody had ever talked to me about any ancestors, you know. Me feeling like I could read people's mind as a child, but that's part of just being an empath, me picking up on energies and being able to tell who good people from bad people, or who meant me good and, you know, who didn't mean me any good. We all are born with them. It's just when we recognize them, one, because we got to recognize them, and then we got to attune to them.
Right.
You know, and with Reiki kind of just helped me bring all of that together. Everybody always say, I love your energy, you got good energy, and da-da-da. And with Reiki, you know, I'm able to share some good energy through, you know, conversation and allowing people to be open and free to express themselves, cry. You know, most people cry. I'll tell you that with the Reiki experience. And it's okay, because once they cry, that weight,
open it up, like,
that weight, those bonds, the unforgiveness and things that turn into cancers in the body,
the blockages,
you know, that turn, you know, the energy blockages that turn into cancer or heart problems or all these other things that we're diagnosed with. Once they cry and they release them, they feel so much better. It's not because it actually cured The bipolar, because when they told me that I was bipolar, because now I recognize if I feel off or something, it ain't my energy, it's your energy. Or whoever else's energy. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm an energy being.
Come absorb it.
And I'm absorbing it. I used to walk, my kids would be so embarrassed at me at Walmart, because Walmart to me is an overwhelming place because of the people and the energies that's all in there. And it's like I can feel all of them at one time, so my body has this strange reaction. They call it anxiety attacks.
Yeah, I know all about those.
You feel me? So now that I'm aware what it is, I know how to say, okay, this is not my energy. I can send it back to the to the rightful owner of it, you know, and that's where I transmute it with love and light. I don't have to pick that up and carry that.
Can I go back? I'm sorry. I was looking at my phone. Go back to the anxiety attack. What'd you say?
I was telling him that like Walmart, I get overwhelmed at Walmart.
Okay.
I've passed out at Walmart. Like I freaked out at Walmart because it's so many people there, and each person got their own energy signature. So I'm around a whole bunch of people, and I get overwhelmed energetically. I used to get overwhelmed energetically with it because I didn't realize what was going on. I just knew I felt crazy. You know, like, why I feel like this all of a sudden every time I come to Walmart. And it was because of the energy transferences. So once I became aware that that's what happens when I go into Walmart or any other crowded places. You know, we all have been somewhere in spirit and told you, okay, you need to leave because the energy off in here. You done picked up on that. Clearly, right?
Yeah.
So now once I understood that, okay, these is not my energies that I'm feeling while I'm in Walmart, it's those people's energies. You see what I'm saying? I'm just, like you said, I got these antennas, I got all these receptors, I got all these portals.
You gotta know how to use them.
I'm a spiritual being. Right, that's the key. You got to know how to use them.
Right.
So
Because if you don't know how to use them, there
It'll
goes the
overwhelm.
problem.
So
you know?
so
Yeah.
so
You don't
with
know how
that
to
being
control.
said, the thing of damn, I forgot what was I talking about earlier when I said when you're passing it down.
The generation
Hereditary. The
Yeah, that-
hereditary. Does hereditary things have to stifle your life, or with that being said, you can change that?
You got the power to
You
change
have
it.
the power to change.
We
that.
have the power to change it.
So it doesn't have to be something that's going to
Continue.
just because mama had.
It don't mean you gotta have
That
it.
don't mean you gotta have.
I mean, ain't that just like speaking damnation upon your family?
You
To
can
me,
break
it
that.
is. You can break that, and,
Yeah.
but somebody got to do it.
Somebody,
Right.
or you gotta
Somebody-
know. Somebody gotta teach you how to.
And somebody, and that's
gotta
part of the
acknowledge it.
problem too, because so many of our families have been so institutionalized and indoctrinated. It's hard to convince them that there's something outside
Because they
of that
demonize
box.
this stuff.
And it is, and they
It's
did
been
that
demonized.
intentionally. They still demonize it. They call me witch, voodoo. I don't care what they call me at this point. If it helps people,
You've seen it firsthand, so
and I've witnessed it. I've experienced,
How
and the
can they
people
not
who
what you
truly,
do?
and the people who truly know me, and who have had the opportunity to work with me, will tell you it works. You just like you said, a lot of people don't know. Like some of the stuff, my mama's 72 years old. Believe me, most of the stuff that come out of my mouth, she ain't never heard before. This is her first time at 70, hearing about some of the stuff that I'm speaking on as far as metaphysics and energies and spirits and, different number synchronicities, just whatever it is that I'm, Mama, this is what I learned, or this is what, and so it becomes very difficult to get people to change their mind or at least open it up. And I think that when I first started speaking that way or living in this new way to my family, it scared them. They thought I had lost my shit. Like, what you mean?
how they feel now?
Now they're all aboard.
I need y'all.
And I think it was because they
to like,
watched me.
share, and follow this. This is good information.
Yeah. I think, and like I said earlier, it's about being that example. if you show somebody, like my daddy, even being brought up and raised in the church, my daddy taught me that Christ was sent as an example. He was sent to us to be an example of how we should behave. Now, I don't have to be a Christian to say, okay, well, this is what they say he did and how he behaved. So, okay. So, me being Christ-like don't mean I necessarily have to be a Christian, but I do have to have certain morals and hold myself accountable for certain things. That's why they call it the Christ consciousness, not necessarily the Christ,
Right.
the Lord and Savior that they call him.
the
It's the mindset. It's the and how you carry yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Again, me challenging myself. I know the purer you are, the higher your vibration, the higher your frequency, because you don't have a lot. That's why Reiki is important too, to clear up them blockages so that your energy is clear, your frequency is high. Lighter to be. You're supposed to be as light as a feather.
I definitely need one of them sessions, man.
I'm telling
I
you.
Get one of them sessions from you. Because I noticed, even because I had stopped eating beef about 2-3 years one time, and that made me feel lighter. Just stopping that made me feel a lot different.
And people always think that it has to always do with. When I stopped eating beef and pork, it was for spiritual reasons, because I loved bacon and, you know what I'm saying, cheeseburgers and stuff like that. But I couldn't think. I was like, oh my God, no wonder. Part of the way I was feeling the anxiety and all the depression and stuff is because of my bad eating habits. I was eating all this dead meat, and then when it was explained to me in a spiritual manner what was actually taking place when they got the cattle all lined up and the adrenaline is pumping, and all of a sudden they slaughter it, and that meat full of adrenaline. Now all of a sudden here you is slopping it down in the cheeseburger. You wonder why you mad at your mama, your daddy. You out here, you see.
And that's after they process it.
And that's after they process it, you know. Right, you know, so that made me was like, okay, I don't never want to eat another hamburger again. Right. Like, I'm going to just stop, you know. And I did that. And now it's just that it's the same thing with the other meat. It don't taste the same to me anymore. They started talking about making it in a warehouse on the petri dish, and the government was going to approve it. I'm just like, you know what? I'm over all of this meat, you know.
Yeah, there's so many different levels. It's one thing to eat something that you raised, you saw it every day, you took care of it, and you can feel how you want about meat in general. But this ain't that. Well, you know, shit in the stores and they telling you. Like,
I mean, you hear the reports about the McDonald's, them finding human, like, that's believable. Right. Like, where's all the missing humans that they never find? Like, all of this, people say conspiracy theorists is crazy and everything. Nah, to me, they just make you question what else is a possibility that's out there outside of what we hear the news tell us or what other people sit back and talk about on a regular basis.
Right. Yeah, I've always been a conspiracy theory dude. So that shit don't bother me. I want to get back to the whole therapy thing. An issue we have nowadays is, when it comes to mental health and how we deal with it, like you got, well, it's a bunch of different stuff, but it's like, like you went from, I don't know how beholden you were to an organization to kind of dictate how you approached it, but just to be in the field and also receive services, and to now where you've come, like medication and all that shit. It's kind of like the same thing with the food. It's like we have a system that is kind of pushed on us, you know, set of guidelines for therapists to have to go by. You know what I'm saying? So, how is it possible to be? Is it possible to do what you do through one of those institutions? Can you be honest? Can you take a holistic approach in the institution?
I'm gonna say this part from experience. When I tried that approach, I was fired. Quick. It was over with no previous write-ups, no previous complaints. I had a perfect reputation with the clients' families. Like, I had never had to be wrote up for any reason in 8 years. And it wasn't until then I started incorporating the healing modalities that I was using on myself. Yoga. I started out with yoga and meditation. So I was taking the yoga and the meditation back to the people that I was serving in an apartment complex for the severely and persistently mentally ill, meaning your schizophrenics, your bipolars, your dual diagnosis people, narcissists. That was my first time experiencing a true narcissist.
That was that. Don't.
That's a whole nother
Yeah, we'll get to that part.
But again, I already knew what my mission was in these jobs, that I was truly supposed to help these people. So the approach to me, bringing back the different modules that I was using, the yoga, the meditation, therapeutic coloring, things like that, the clients loved it. But all of a sudden, out of the blue, it was a problem.
So what was the excuse?
The excuse for them firing me was it was for budget reasons.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was the best thing that they could say, because they couldn't say anything else. They couldn't.
Budget cuts.
Budget cuts. They couldn't say, well, you see, we actually see the people meditating and doing yoga, and they're
Getting better.
and getting better, and they're in less crises, and they're not having to utilize you as much, and they're not having to call the car. They didn't want to come and say that,
You're doing the community good.
Right. They didn't want me to do the community.
Right.
You know them powers that be,
That's crazy.
they probably went back like, yeah, I had up all the chakras, I had up all the colorful, mudras and mantras and the different meditations that we did. Like, I thought it was a good thing when they would come down and visit, they would actually be engaged in doing yoga with them. But for some apparent reason, I guess they thought it was evil, or or they didn't ever say that.
It wasn't good for their pocket.
It wasn't,
like
and that's what it boiled down to. It wasn't good for them because, eventually, if those people kept going at the rate that they were going, they were not going to need to be living in those apartments. They could be living independently.
You're making us useful. Unuseful.
Yeah, like, you're not really supposed to heal them, or you're not supposed to help them heal. You're supposed to just go along with the program and keep them medicated.
Right.
How many people, percentage-wise, that are in the mental health field get that? Would you say?
Get what I was providing to them?
No, get that there is no real solution or cure going the route that we're expected to go.
I can't give you an exact number, but I'm pretty sure it's a high number of people that are against trying to use traditional approaches, holistic approaches to mental health services now.
You saying people in the field are against it?
I'm saying, just like, because again, it depends on the person. Is the person in it for the paycheck, or is the person in it for their heart?
Exactly
now,
what
if it's
I
a
was
person,
I'm looking more for people that, like, because I would assume that people that go into the field are going in for good intentions, for good reasons. And then in it, once you're in it maybe 10 years, like, you should know enough to know whether what you're doing is real. At the 10-year mark, how many people that are conducting it, like working on, the specialist side of things, really know that they're doing something that's not really going to work? Like, cause
After a while, because it's a continuing cycle that you see that they should be able to see because they've been in that capacity for a long time. I'm still gonna say very few actually see it.
really,
Because the other ones that are involved don't care to see it. It's a big thing in the industry now where
turn a blind eye to it.
yeah, and let things go because of what administration says. You don't want to ruffle any feathers. See,
Right. That's what all of this shit boils down to.
and it's a money thing. It's a money thing because again, like modern day doctors aren't gonna heal anybody because then they don't want you to get better because then you gotta stop feeding their doctor's appointments and you gotta stop feeding the pharmacies your money. You gotta stop doing all of these things.
So what's the disconnect between people? Like, I talk to people, and people really feel like I got a doctor's appointment. I'm gonna go see my doctor so he can keep me right or get me right. And it's like you believe that? It's like, why wouldn't I believe that? But at the same time, it's like cognitive dissonance is a motherfucker. Like that's prevalent. That's like to live in America, you have to be that way, or you be like me, and you, essentially, like, because we had a situation a couple weeks ago where we spoke to a, mental, health, and there's a difference between not knowing and it's just levels, man. Like to not know and consciously play, or to know and consciously play like you don't for a living, nigga.
People do it. I've seen them do it. I mean, it's no different than the educational system. You got some teachers who work with you personally, and that teacher genuinely cares about you and has a good, has your best interest at heart.
Right.
And then you got some, they only dealing with your black ass because
but
they
the ones that's dealing that really care. How are they still in the school system? How you fighting? How you like salmon and shit, swimming upstream?
Those people, they want to feel like that they're still able to make a difference despite
within it.
Yeah, so they just stick with it. They'll do as much as they can to stay under the radar. Because I'm not going to say that every teacher is a bad teacher, that every mental health provider is a bad provider, that every person... Most of them are not.
Right.
Now, the intention as to why they're there is different. Because you said as long as they have good intentions, well, their good intention might be to make X amount of dollars a year. And that's why you see what I'm saying? Right. But as far
that's
as...
not a good intention.
But that's their good intention. That's why I'm just saying the good intention should be because you genuinely want to help people.
Right.
Those are the people.
It's like... In those fields, it can't be money.
It can when it's upper administration, and that's what I found out myself. Now, the ones on the front line, the ones that's day in and day out with the clients, those are the ones that you see got harder. Mm-hmm. But them ones, a lot of them ones
that get ground down and burn out after 10 years.
The ones that I used to call it a totem pole.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a totem pole. I used to feel like I was the lowest one on the totem pole because of my title and how much I made an hour. You see what I'm saying? But I was the closest one to being grounded where I could actually reach the people. Because everybody above me seemed to have been lost in that translation as to what is the mission here that we're trying to accomplish. So, yeah. When you see people that are stuck with that for 10, 12, 15 years and seeing them the ones that's in it for, from their heart. Mm-hmm. Them ones that come in, they do it for a while. I've seen people fraudulently take advantage of government programs that pay people that work with mental health people. You know what I'm saying? Because they was in it for the money.
Yeah, because the game is set up to where it's like, you know, if I didn't have morals, I would get me a orphanage or what they call it? When you adoption company. Mm-hmm. There's some good money in it. Mm-hmm. Some people that's in it. Like, you got to be a saint to adopt kids for a living. And just do it. But a saint ain't going, you know. Like, I seen this. Yo, this is all like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's just set up to where we'll give you money to do this, so people be like, well, I need money, I'm gonna go do it for the money.
Take advantage of it. I mean, and you see it on TV when some of these kids end up dead. You know what I'm saying? There was one instance they found a little boy outside chained up to the chicken coop or something. I was like, what in the world? Right. What would possess them to even want to adopt or foster a child to just try, even some of the kids that I work with have been in those type, and I'm like, why would they even put them in that type of foster environment? You know, like I remember one time, and this was a big one. This is when I learned about the diagnosis of Munchausen by proxy. You ever heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
That
was
the
parent is like putting it on the child,
making the child sick, keeping the child sick because they like the attention of that man. When I heard that, that's what really. Working on that case, what made me say, yo, I could do this forever, because I love the fact that I was able to help that kid escape that situation. You know, we had to, and it just kept me, you know, I was like, okay, I can help this kid. It was like, in my mind, I'm one of those people that I feel like I just want to save the world, but I realize I can't do that, so I have to do it like one person at a time when I can. Or but, yeah.
All right, so, like this is, we doing this whole Make America Well Again thing, right? So, you know, it's like, what do you do? Like you trying to do something for the people coming up after you, children and such. Like, you know, most people have to get to an age where they've experienced it to kind of see it. Like the game is laid down so thoroughly, this game that we're talking about, you know, from birth you're giving shots and all this crazy shit, you know, and it's you know, progressively getting worse. Milk ain't what it used to be. You know, you used to get milk in school and whatever, you know. Whatever. Now I don't even deal with it, you know, that whole thing. But like this whole COVID thing kind of showed me how astray our system is. How, you know, like it was a more pronounced example of how broken our system is when it goes to people. Like, I don't know how much they kill people in hospitals on purpose before, but COVID kind of showed that shit happens, you know? And the doctors don't have no integrity. Pharmaceutical companies don't have no integrity. Insurance companies ain't got no integrity. But it's on a personal level. Like a doctor will look you straight in the face and hope you just don't know.
Don't question.
Yeah, they'll look you in the face and tell you some bullshit and be looking at you like, is that cool? Oh, that's not cool. That's crazy what you just said. But they know most people don't know. But, you know, it's to the point where none of it could be trusted. So what do we do? You get to a certain age, you live and you see things. You get to the point where it's like, okay, this ain't right. What can we do? How do you change that?
I mean, first it starts with conversations, because if none of us ever sit down and talk about anything, other than celebrity and sports and the basic things that people conversate about. If we don't go any deeper, and we're not going to have that. But then we got to be open to hear something different, receive some different information, be able to process it and see if that's something that works for us. I used to think that just by talking to people in general that you would wake them up, or you would give them some knowledge and they would apply it, take heed, or apply it, or anything. And it was driving me crazy because it just seemed like they just really wasn't getting it, and I was getting aggravated. And
yeah, because you're competing with a machine.
Yeah, and so I still put information out there, and then I just see who really grab it now, because you can't force people to change their mind. All you can do, again, is present information to, especially people you're close to or your loved ones, even strangers, because I have a huge platform on Facebook that I just throw stuff out there too that I think or I feel or I use, and I got a lot of friends that it resonates with, so that's my tribe. I'm not talking to you ones over there that want to argue and doubt and tell me that ain't how it works, and I need to wear a mask and all that. You're not gonna put all that stuff on me,
Do those blockages block that type of thinking, like
those people
receiving that information?
Definitely.
So that's why Reiki is good, because it opens you up to the
information, to receive the information. And even myself, I have to stay attuned. I have to keep my chakras in alignment, because I'm a teacher and I'm presenting information all the time. So I gotta make sure I'm not carrying any blockages myself. Because if, like, just say I have a blockage in my throat chakra or imbalance in my throat chakra, even though I'm saying something, it's going to be received differently based off of the frequency, that people are receiving it at. That's why a lot of times, instead of it being a nice, settled, level-headed debate amongst people, it turned into an argument and a full, somebody's crown chakra blocked, somebody's throat chakra is way.
Wow, it affects how the message is transmitted.
Energy is transferred. Wow. Yeah, even money. That's why I say people don't realize how energy is everything. We was talking the other day about money being called currency. Mm-hmm. Well, why is it called currency? Because it has a frequency and it moves. You know what I'm saying? And it's possible, to be so in line and at a high frequency that you don't have to do anything to get money. Right. It vibrates. It just comes to you effortlessly. All of a sudden, you get a phone call and somebody you don't know in your family passed away. You just got $10,000. You ain't know that person existed. Because at that time or whatever was happening, you was at an alignment to receive that thing. I haven't done it yet, but I'm gonna challenge myself on that. I'm gonna boost my frequency up real high, and just for the hell of it, because I don't never do it, go play the lottery and see what happens. I mean, this is a challenge. I always challenge.
That might be what I need to do after we do these shows.
But I'm telling you,
you got there play the lottery. I don't know.
I mean, I've spoke things into existence before.
Because honestly, when we have good podcasts like this, I leave feeling a certain way.
Right.
So maybe I need to go play. All three of us need to go play that song.
Let's go do it. Because that thing up to 1.6 billion.
You feel me? And my frequency is high right now.
You see what I'm saying? So, and that's what we need, and that's why Reiki is important.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Do you have a network of people that you can have conversations
with,
that you can gain from, and also, receive and transmit, whatever that's called?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that's again my tribe. The teacher I studied Reiki under, her name is Asha Sims. Shouts out to Asha at a Shakti Wellness. She's amazing. She is amazing. She started out as a clinical therapist, and I don't think she'll mind. She shared her. She shares her journey publicly with people. But her son's father passed away suddenly, and that was life transforming to her. And so she had to do different things to kind of help deal with that. And more holistic approaches to healing was one of those things that she started incorporating in her life. So now she went from being a traditional therapist to a holistic therapist. Right. So she's using yoga, meditation, like everything I learned from her. You know, and you were saying about how we can reach certain people. I know we can reach certain people, you know, because all it took was for me to be open to receive her teaching and what she inspired me to become. So all I have to do is find somebody that feels inspired or led to dig deeper and look into alternative ways, like she did me, I do to someone else, and you do to someone else. All it takes is us to ignite one other person. Then that one other person gonna share it, and then you know, now you got this whole, I say, butterfly effect now, because now everybody is aware of it, and it's gonna take those type of conversations. Because some people don't know herbal teas can heal you. Some people don't know anything about Reiki. Some people ain't never meditated or used yoga as a way to kind of try to help still their mind.
Right. Or strengthen their body.
Man, I tell people, because I'm one of these type of people, whenever I challenge myself, I'm going to challenge and I'm going to go full-fledged. In my 30s, after I had my kids, I was almost 300 pounds. Almost 300 pounds. That was huge for me. And I started studying yoga and Pilates. And I naturally lost 150 pounds. You know, by changing my diet, incorporating more holistic approaches like the meditation, like the yoga, like the Pilates to move my body. People think that we got to go have all these surgeries and take all these pills to do. No, you got to get up and move.
Back to the same shit.
You got to be disciplined. You got to make a choice to change, you know, what you're doing.
Yeah, they don't prescribe that kind of stuff.
They're not going to.
They prescribe stuff to cover up.
Put a Band-Aid on us.
Yeah, literally, like it's more. It's crazy, man.
I mean, but that rate, as conspiracy theorists think that there's this belief that they're trying to eliminate as many of us as possible, then it goes along with what they're trying to do.
Makes sense.
So
right?
let's not let them heal themselves. Let's just give them these drugs and tell them that they're going to be okay and they're going to take away the symptoms. But in 5 years, we know for a fact, because we done the research on lab rats, they're going to be dead. You know, and we take it.
Or something else going on.
But if I tell somebody, hey, I got this tea right here, it can help you with your liver. I'm scared of that. What's in that tea? I don't want that tea. I'm like, what?
You ain't on CNN. It's a demon. It's a demon right there.
Like, that's crazy to me. I've offered people food out of my garden, and they told me no, they didn't trust it because it wasn't from the grocery store. I mean, what type of craziness?
That's crazy.
And guess what? Some of them, you just have to let them be crazy because you can't convince them any different. So I'm not going to waste my time and my energy. I spent a lot of time doing that.
Right.
Taking away from myself.
And somebody else that could be receiving it.
It's because it's people out there that want it. Right. It's people that want to change. It's people that just don't know. They want somebody to help them. I wanted somebody, so, and I found that teacher for me, and I'm grateful. Every day, I still study under her. Like, sometimes I'm a teacher. Most times I'm a student because I'm still learning. And that's something that'll never change. And that's us always. Sometimes we're a teacher. Most times we're a student if you're receptive to learning.
Do you know podcasts, whatever, shows, whatever, local, that kind of do these conversations?
No, I don't personally. No, and it's a need for them, you know, because more people are going with podcasts, listening to podcasts throughout the day. So using that as a a tool to reach, magnitude of people and educating them on some of the things that they possibly don't know. That's a win. So we need more of them like that.
So all the people that you deal with doing what you do, there's not too many
doing podcasts,
promoting the ideas.
No, I'm not gonna say they don't promote. I don't see a lot of them doing
Commercial conversations.
Oh yeah, now we do have conversations. We do have drinks. We have classes. I have had a few podcasts that I've chimed in on or participated in. But no, more so the people in my community that I personally know and work with, they frontline soldiers. They're hosting events, trying to bring people in and educate them more about Reiki and yoga and the healing benefits of tea.
But there ain't too many platforms where they can kind of, like I know you got your YouTube. Make announcements like one-stop shop to promote when you come up with a new concept, kind of talk about it, introduce it. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what this thing's, what this thing could be is like. More of a, instead of people having to do it on an individual level, their own thing, a place to, like a hub.
For people to come in and speak.
Where we all expect, like you do what you do. You have friends, colleagues that do what they do. A place where you all can go and you all know about to be the place to do these, exchanging ideas, just because YouTube is like that. YouTube is a place you can go for videos of whatever kind. It's the hub. It's the place where everybody know about that. We go there and you'll be able to find what you're looking for. Like I don't know of with the stuff that we talk about, or stuff that you're talking about now. Where people that get it, away from the institutions,
right?
No FDA approval and all that bullshit. Where we could just be free about having conversations, promoting certain products, a one-stop place. You know what I'm saying? What you think?
That sounds good. That sounds like something that is needed. Because me immediately can't register anyone.
Because it's almost like we gotta separate. We gotta separate from it and create our own lane.
Yeah. A couple of years ago, I think I shared with you, me and a friend, we had our own radio show. And our prime focus was healing hip hop. He's a hip hop artist. And so we talked about like all the trauma that's just in our community in general. But more so like the hip hop community. It's cool. Hip hop just celebrated 50 years. Like I'm a hip hop head, old school. I'm almost 50, so I'm just as old as it. But when we look back over the past, we can see some of the traumas that and the things that they speak on through their lyrics and the lifestyles they live that show that they were experiencing trauma. Now, had some of these services or modules been presented to them as younger people, before.
Who knows what their music is?
Who knows what?
Hip hop was that at first, then.
But even now, if we can reach some of these kids, because I honestly can't understand what the hell they're saying these days on this, and I think that's intentional again with the frequency of the music and everything being so muffled and unclear.
High pitched and all that.
Yeah, these frequencies that they're doing something to our minds and the kids and but again, that's why we have to take advantage of learning these things now and incorporating them into our lives so we can teach our kids. My kids is in their 20s and 30s, so it's hard trying to mold and shape them, but they're opening up as I continue to.
So
But my grandkids are gonna get it. They got it.
your kids were older when you discovered this.
Yes.
So how did they receive the information you gave?
My family will tell you, I don't know what it was. I do know what it was. Spiritually, what I say happened to me is what's known as a death and a rebirth. Like literally, I went to sleep one night.
And woke up a whole different person.
And the next day I woke up a whole different person. And I was like, what happened? Like I had been body snatched or something.
Invasion of the body snatchers.
But, you know, I think what happened was I really activated my Kundalini energy, the meditation and the yoga. So everything instantly just kind of kicked in. And so that's why it just seemed so abrupt that I went to sleep one way and I woke up another way.
So they, like when you started trying to communicate that, how was that? Did they openly receive it? Like, oh, okay, yeah, you a new person. That's cool. We'll do that. Or was it more like,
At first it was like,
Of course it is.
because it was different to them,
Yeah,
you know.
going against everything that they've been
Taught and that they've known me to be,
right. Because we raised you like this, now all of a sudden
you like this, you know. But they quickly became accepting.
wow.
One, because I'm mom and they trust me and they know if I'm in a safe head space, heart space, or not. So they weren't concerned that I was going to do anything to hurt myself or anyone else. So they're like, okay, we just going to let mama be for a minute. But as they observed me starting to do certain rituals for myself, you know, lighting candles, making candles, all these things, they seen my frequency rise. They seen me being a better person. So they were all for it at that point. Like, whatever mama doing, it's working. And again, leading by example, me talking to them and showing them how meditation can help them, you know, help slow down, you know, their minds, help them focus more, you know, help them release anger, you know, doing Reiki on them, you know, just they've been more and more open and willing, you know, and accepting. They wear their crystals, you know. My daughter is tapping into her spiritual gifts. My son ascended last year at 26, passed away, or transitioned. I don't like to use the word died or, you know, but he ascended, he transitioned last year, and I'm grateful that he got an opportunity to witness me as I am now. You know, because even growing up with them, I was battling my own traumas. I was fighting my own demons. That's how I got the diagnosis of being bipolar.
Because I think a lot of that is going to be happening here soon, or now, or has been happening.
With people?
Yeah, like revelations coming, you know, having epiphanies.
Oh, yeah.
All this, you know, age of Aquarius, age of revealing. People my age who their children are used to them, or family as a whole used to them a certain way, who are coming into this information and applying it. How easily is it going to be received? Like, you know, I just thought it was cool to put an example out there. So people watching who may be experiencing that thing where, you know, because like I said, you know, we're up against the machine. You know, all this shit is indoctrination. It's continued bombardment, propaganda, and all this some shit. So we fight an uphill battle, but you know,
if we could reach the people who have been bombarded by them things and get them to kind of just change their mindset and how we receive what's going on around us, and give, you know, some insight into, that's part of the program, is to keep people in their head, in their feelings, in the hospital, distracted, upset, tired, anxious, like, okay, then we know not to give them that power. You know, we might have to go to work every day, but let's not give them all of us.
All right, hold on, I'm gonna pause. All right. Sorry about this, folks. We had to moved to another area because of the background noise, but we back and we're gonna try to start back where we were. But like I said, as you come in, like, share, and follow on here on YouTube. We're gonna try to start back where we were. We were talking about distractions.
Yeah, how we never gonna agree 100%, but like people that come to the realization that how things are set up are not for our best interests. Like that right there could be the one common understanding that we all have to agree on. Religion, we ain't gonna get into none of that other shit, but having a place to, a network to go where we all know, we have each other's best interests. On the whole, like radical, not radical, but if there's a system and you're going against it, that's automatically radical. Mm-hmm. So I don't consider myself radical, but I don't fuck with none of this crazy shit. So, I guess I am.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think it's cool to be a radical thinker. That means you think outside of the box. You thinking things that most people do not think. I mean, radical doesn't have to have a negative connotation attached to it. We need more radical thinkers. I mean, it's radical thinkers and radical artists that change the world,
Do you see a lot of those nowadays?
Not nowadays,
Well,
I see more of
know.
us being incorporated.
What do you see nowadays?
I see more and more of us, especially the men, like opening up and being more conscious and spiritual, and not being ashamed to express it through podcast or
Is that what you
having
mean when you
open
said
dialogues.
incorporated?
Yeah, incorporated. Yeah, like I see.
So you do see that?
Like I do see it now more so than when I first started my journey. When I first started my journey, I was just like, it was maybe me and two other people that, I was just like, yeah. But when I say incorporated, I'm talking about people in the mainstream, more in the mainstream that we see now. Like, can I drop names?
Sure.
Like,
I'm gonna probably disagree, but sure.
I'm just saying, like, we ain't gonna never disagree on everything,
right.
But just more men coming to the forefront, being willing to express their ideas outside of the box, like 19 Keys,
okay.
Even Yaki Waken on Instagram, I think that's his name.
The short stout dude.
Yeah.
That's the dude I was telling you about.
Me personally, I follow this lady named She's Pal. She's a real powerful woman, a speaker, and she speaks more to my. This is a whole nother podcast. Starseed side, I consider myself a starseed, a light worker, past being an indigenous woman, I know I come from the heavens, I come from the galaxy, I come from the cosmos, I'm all the sun, moon, and stars, energy all wrapped into one. So she feeds that intellect and that, passion for me to stay connected to my starseed family, those who feel like, I come from the cosmos, it's just not about this third dimensional plane that I'm existing in right now. It's more to it. Lavelle Zimmerman is another guy that I follow on Facebook. I'm not really on Instagram like that, so I have to get more familiar with that. But even coming back into contact with Sanchez through vending events and us just realizing that we're both now on this more holistic, journey, and him sharing with me his thoughts and ideas and telling me that you guys had a podcast. So this is the type of incorporation that I'm talking about, you two linking up to do this, bring forth information and put it to the public that not too many people that's really talking about or drawing attention to my to my knowledge.
Right. Just real quick, you said vending events. That's another thing. You know, I don't know where you be at.
She was at the Black Wall Street.
Oh yeah,
she be at those. Yeah.
Black Wall Street, Highland Fest, Juneteenth events.
Right.
I've been vending for 4 or 5 years now.
Okay, well we need to we need to that's another part of this whole radical thing where like this is, you know, these ain't just products. These are going back to the whole, it's one thing to be trained on something and, you know, prescribe something, but when you start one place, go through you know, transgressions and issues, whatever the case is, and come out on the other side with an understanding of what these products do. That's a whole nother, that's like from you at that point. Like, you know,
those Akashic records and everything that just kicked in because instinctively, like, I just knew what to do. Not saying I know everything, and of course I always study before I create because I want to make sure, you know, when I'm creating with intentions, I'm also creating with knowledge that this is actually going to benefit.
Right and exact. Right,
you know,
right.
Yeah, I'm not just doing it because I just want to sell product.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's like,
and these are basic, simple, just to tease. I started out with crystals and incense and body oils. The crystals because I was taught how they naturally raise your frequency. Everything has a frequency. So I was like, well, if I can get people to carry the crystals or to wear their crystals, then that'll naturally raise their frequency. Incense, aromatherapy, the benefits of just the aromatherapy is remarkable. You know, scents can change your whole mood and instantly. It does, like the vibe and everything. And I'm like, why aren't more and more people doing this?
That's what I'm getting.
Because they don't know or they haven't been presented with it as an option.
Because you have a whole machine against you. And it's like, just let me get this out real quick. So, you know, coming full circle and, you know, concluding through your journey, after your journey, what you've been through, that this is a product worth putting out. It's kind of the point. It's like, this ain't just a product. This is like I do, I'm in my lane as far as this goes. It's like you do shit, work jobs, blah, blah. You learning, existing. You come to the conclusion at some point, if you looking for a higher, whatever, purpose and all that, you come to a conclusion on something that you feel is worthwhile to offer to the people. Like, that's where we gotta get. Because all this other shit is against, like, jobs and working for bullshit money. It ain't about the money, but if you're going to work and your only intent for going there is to get money, that shit in itself is so, soul sucking, like so, killing slowly. And that's a part of the whole mental health thing. So, the network of people who come to these conclusions after their journey, that this is the product I'm gonna push. Everybody should have that. We all have something to offer each other. You know what I'm saying? I just want to say that. That's it.
Thank you. And to me, the teas are a small step for people to just take. Trying to get people to go full-fledged in the yoga and the meditation, that might be too much too quick, But yeah, baby steps, like I started with crystals, and then like I said, the incense and oils are always, even as a kid, my mom take me to the flea market. I want to go to the oil lady and the incense lady and get oils and incense and candles. So I've always been into that type of thing. But now, being able to incorporate and offer different, I do all natural hair, skin in bath products, you know, so we can get away from using all these chemicals on our hair and our skin. I mean, it all contributes to the illnesses, you know, and the sicknesses that we're carrying inside of our bodies.
Right.
You know, so.
Yeah, and it all goes to that. It's all like we offer products to counteract what the
stores in the world is
doing.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all kind of like, you know, like you were saying, you gotta unload. It's like a trash can. It's like you can't just add good shit
on top of
the trash. You gotta dump the whole shit, wash it out, clean it up, and then start adding good stuff. But you know, we can't. You know, we don't have the influence to do it like that.
We don't have the what?
The influence to expect somebody to empty their whole trash can, clean it out, and allow us to.
We're gaining
so
the influence, and
right.
again, that's going to be by the example that we use. Because if somebody see that your life has went from not sugar to the sugar,
right.
they're gonna want to know what did you do, and how did you do that, and how did you do it so beautifully.
Right.
They're gonna want to know the secret.
If they want good,
like you said, it's baby steps though. Because you got to figure it. Because even for a person like me, I had to understand and figure out how to understand how we got to this point. Now, how can I, you know, move forward from where we've been to now?
Right.
Now, how do I move forward to, like you said, reverse it or get away from it as much as possible? Because I don't think we can totally.
You take action, and that's all anybody has to do is to take an action to move in that direction. A lot of people stay in their heads, and they'll stay there for 30 years, and all the greatness, it just lingers there. It don't never go nowhere because it's there, but it's not activated. You gotta activate it, put it into some action.
Because ain't nothing wrong with going within, but you also have to come
back out, you know, and on the journey, it's usually, you know, when you come back out is when you're able to impact others.
And that's like you were saying, that's the key.
And that's the key.
The purpose. Mm-hmm. The purpose is to, come on, brother, let's do this. We can do this together.
Yeah, it's like you gotta live a whole life before you realize it. And it's like, it shouldn't be that way. I mean, me personally.
Do you? Because you remember, she when we even had the conversation a couple of days ago, she said the child is closer to it than anything. Until it's indoctrinated, then it learns that, oh, wait a minute. Then it don't learn, that human being don't learn it until they get older.
Well, the thing is,
because it's been indoctrinated for
it's
so
like,
many years.
Yeah. It starts at home. It starts from birth, or even when the woman has a baby in utero. Is that woman holding her belly and speaking positive affirmations to that child?
Right.
You know, is that woman in an environment of love and safety and peace? How does that masculine treat that feminine during her pregnancy? Is he present? Is he talking to the baby? Because the baby's being molded and sculpted and formed in utero. And then once it's here, now it's in the physical realm. So it's like a sponge, just absorbing whatever it is that we're putting out there.
But just like you said, like, and the same thing with me. When I had a child, I wasn't really up on it. So it took me a long time. And as I'm growing, my child is growing. You know, by the time I start figuring things out, like, it's too late to start them from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all living a whole life before we figure it out. And that seemed to be the cycle. Like, why can't, like you say, when children are born, they're closest to it. It seems like our responsibility should be to keep them as close to it as possible.
It is.
But we don't, because we indoctrinated too.
Yeah.
When I had a child, I was indoctrinated.
And all that.
So I did it, you know, and then by the time the child is 15, 16, 20 years old, is when I start figuring it out and I can't go back.
Right.
So now, me trying to impart that on her is like, you know, it takes another however many years for her to even start receiving it because it's new to her. Like this not. You ain't been telling me this from birth. You just coming on now, so you know.
I mean, the hardest thing,
You know
I
what I'm
remember, I made my son so upset a couple of years ago. I hurt his feelings, I hurt his feelings because he had bought me a gold chain, and it had a cross on it. And I was like, son, I love you, but I'm not gonna wear that. You know, one, because I'm not a Christian, and two, because I don't wear gold. And he was so upset because earlier in his life, I was taking him to church and I was wearing gold. So he was like, well, Mama, how you just changed on me like that? I was just like, I'm so sorry, you know, like, I evolved, you know, like, you know, and I'm not gonna
perpetuate.
Yeah, you know, and I'm not gonna, cause we can't do like my daddy Bible beat me to death, you know, and as a spiritualist, I don't want to do the same thing to people. You just gotta beat them over. It's the same thing. I might as well be a Christian if I'm gonna do that, you know. So again, the approach is to be an example. You know, and so after, that was probably 3 or 4 years ago, but after a while, now he know he'll get me a plant, or he'll get me, you know, some crystals, or you know, because he understood.
It didn't break his heart.
Right, you know.
He just had to.
And he started changing, you know, his thought process, and he started changing. So I know that as he transitioned, the things that we shared and we were talking about, that he carried those lessons with him, you know, and even spiritually has confirmed to me from that side that, Mama, you was on something. You know, like, thank you.
That's dope.
Thank you
for doing what you did.
For doing it, keep going, you know, and that's really been my inspiration for the last year and 2-3 months that he's been gone, to go even harder with, you know, pushing my
evolution.
Yeah, pushing, you know, I'm not gonna say my beliefs, but the things that I know can help people, you know, into the community. On the weekends, I'm in the streets. I'm going to every single beauty shop, barber shop, convenience store where I see people gather, you know, porches, telling people what I got and what I'm offering and how it can help benefit their lives. You know, just give it a chance.
Give it a chance. That's what I say.
How long it take to get comfortable with
I say 3 months.
With the teas and things like that,
no,
or with the process of me doing that?
Yeah, going out to the community.
Let me tell you, I'm such an introvert. Mm-hmm. I don't fool with nobody until it's time for me to get out into the community. And it was very difficult because I'm so introverted. I'm not used to being in front of people, speaking.
Initiating.
Initiating conversations. And being in the barbershops, it's always a bunch of men. So, you know, I feel like, oh, I gotta talk to these men. But now, they greet me with open arms. They look for me. You know, if I don't come around for 2 or 3 weeks, I'm like, girl, where you been at? Or they calling me like, you need to come to the shop and see us, because I bring my energy with me. You know, I bring my desire to help inspire people or encourage people to heal themselves. I bring it with me. So it's more than me selling tea. You know, we talking, we calling, and we're like, well, sis, I had this dream. What you think about this? Or, you know, I'm still doing the same things to me I was doing in the mental health field, just in a different capacity, under the way I want to do it and not the way the government, the system, or the powers that be say I should do it.
But so, because half of this stuff, or over half, all of it, you can actually do for yourself. You can. But it's good to have a person to connect with.
And I don't have a problem teaching people. I mean, all they got to do is ask. You know, a lot of people are like, no, I want yours. I was like, okay, but you know you can do this yourself. You know, it's very easy to do.
You can sit down and breathe.
Meditate. I mean,
you breathe on your own. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I use a lot of my Facebook is my platform. You know, like I said, when I first started, I might have known 2 people that was into any of the things that I'm into now. And Asha, that was one of them, my teacher, and maybe one of her other students that we became very close friends. So I would just put my stuff out there on Facebook. I opened up I closed my old Facebook down where everybody I knew was my friend and family on there, and I just kind of added a bunch of strangers to my Facebook and threw my ideas and stuff out there and the things that I was using to help myself to see how they get. And people from all over the world, literally all over the world, they were just kind of fed into me. You know, they was like, you made me think about something different, or you just don't know how you inspired me to do such and such. And so that's the plan, you know. However I can reach that goal, you know, as far as what my mission is to help people through any platform, I'm with it.
With it.
I'm with it.
So you get more fulfillment from
being on my
street
own
ministry.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because
like,
I had a shop. I opened up a shop last October. Matter of fact, today, a year ago, I opened up a shop in downtown Gastonia. You know, beautiful location. Had a massage therapist, everything, you know, on site. You come in there, you would have thought, you know, we was some rich, you know, it was very upscale. And we did that for a while. Come July, I was so overworked. I was so weighed down by the responsibilities attached to having that physical location. You know, money is a currency, you know, and it got to be very expensive for me to be there. And I was spending more and more time focused on trying to make money than I was being creative. It took its toll on me. I mean, I haven't been sick in 5-6 years, you know. I was going back and forth to the emergency room. My blood pressure was through the roof, you know, because I was going against what I was doing before that was working. I was trying to do something new by bringing a physical location to the community where the community could come in and receive services from me. You see what I'm saying? And that was... it was a good thing, but it was weighing me down from being able to be free, you know, like that feather. Because
that goes back to, like you say, battling the machine.
Yeah, because now I'm right back in the matrix. Like I fought so hard to get out of this.
Inflation, COVID-19, boom, boom, boom.
You see what I'm saying?
All types of mess stuff that, and that's another thing I want to talk about. Where do you see being a mental health professional? Where do you see the mental health of people after the whole shutdown and all this, you know, all this other stuff going on?
People that receive services, people with diagnoses. Are you saying like in the future? How do I see it?
Yeah. How do you see it? I mean, do you have an idea, or you don't want to do it like that? I'm just, you know what I'm saying.
What traditionally, how go back into like the workforce to work in the field, or you mean I'm not understanding.
No, I'm saying like just where do you see the mental capacity of people, especially the kids?
Okay.
In the future.
It depends on what we do now.
Right.
Where you see them now, like the mental state.
It's terrible right now. People's mental state is terrible, and I'm not even going to say it's all because of COVID, because people's mentality was bad. Their mental health was bad before COVID. COVID kind of made things worse because now you isolated, you stuck, you can't be around people who support you and love you and things like that. I think that we're just in a time right now that we're all under some type of spiritual warfare. We're all battling things within ourselves. So
Go ahead. That's what he was talking about before we took that break. He said the age of Aquarius. That's what he said. But go ahead.
So the age of Aquarius is actually the golden age, correct? So things is supposed to kind of balance out and get better.
Are they trying to stifle that?
Of course, because why would they want things to be better for us?
We got a part. We talked about that on another podcast too.
Unless you're an elitist or one of those top, you know, why would they want anything good?
To balance out.
Yeah, to balance out, be good for us. The government has proven over and over, they do not have our best interests at heart. It's more about the age of Aquarius is more about people actually becoming tapped in to their abilities, their intuition, trusting themselves more. We're leaving a denser, energetically more restricted time behind. Like literally, when you hear about ascension in the age of Aquarius, we're entering into different dimensions. And people don't understand that. Y'all understand dimensions. Like, we're living in a third dimensional reality right now. Spirit wise, when we pass over, we go into a fifth dimension realm, right? So, galactically, we're in between these dimensions as we're ascending. Our consciousness is rising, as well as the planet is getting closer to the heavenly realm. You understand?
So we're gonna talk about that a little more.
We can have a part two.
When you say we're leaving a restrictive time, what does that look like?
You hear people talk about Earth is a prison planet, and it's all these things. What we're doing as we're awakening, right? We're raising the consciousness of this planet that we're on. So as we all are enlightened and our consciousness and our frequency raises, what that allows the planet to do is also its frequency raises. You see
So
what I'm
our
saying?
frequency
The lighter the
helps
light,
to help heal the Earth's frequency?
it does. It does. It keeps
Symbiotic.
because energetically, the people on the earth, if it's more good people on the earth than bad people, then the energy is higher. You know what I'm saying? If it's more bad people and they got lower vibing energy, then the frequency of the earth will be lower. Mm-hmm. So we need both to exist. You got to have good and bad, positive and negative, yin and yang to exist. But the circumstances that we've been living under for the last really 400 years on this planet has caused the frequency to be dark and heavy. Slavery, all this other stuff they talk about, the things that we've been talking about today, all the wars that's been fought, all this intense.
But has this stuff not been happening?
It has been happening that's what I'm saying. It's been happening for hundreds of thousands of years.
Right.
But now, we as a collective
In this moment in time,
our consciousness is raising. It's more and more of us daily whose consciousness is raising. So it's bringing us out of this darkness and these destitute times that we've been having. From my understanding, in the age of Aquarius, we're to enter a new earth. I don't know if that's past y'all studies or not, but we're entering a new earth on a higher frequency. So a lot of the things that's been existing on this planet is not going to be able to exist the higher we go.
So you think that maybe as our frequencies, our frequencies rise, energy rises. Mm-hmm. These little ploys by the establishment are trying to stifle, like Sanchez was saying,
they're trying to stop your
not allow it.
Right. They're trying to stop your progress. If they can stop you one more less person contribute to the overall. See what I'm saying? And so if they can stop him, then that's one less. So they don't want us.
But
they don't want us to unite and collectively raise each other's conscience. That's what the whole COVID thing was about, locking people away from everybody.
That's what people have to.
Because at that time, people they weren't distracted. If people did not take advantage of COVID, I don't know what, but it was a time for us to sit down and chill and meditate and reflect. It was.
That was a great year for me.
Time to reflect.
And then they paid us to do it. Right. And they paid us to do it. So the ones who took advantage of that time, those are the ones that I'm seeing now.
Feeling kind of good right
They're
now.
feeling good. They started businesses. You know what I'm saying? They worked on their shadow work. They did all the work on themselves so that they could, So, yes. And people say it's gonna happen. Well, good. Hopefully this time the people that didn't, they'll sit down and they'll take advantage of that. That was a divine time. I was looking at y'all's video earlier. I told you I looked at some of the videos and y'all were talking to this lady about COVID, and I think it was you. So I ain't never get COVID. I don't even know what that is, and that's kind of how I approached COVID. I was like, I don't even know what this is that y'all talking about. I was one of those, I'm not wearing no mask, I didn't never wear a mask. I was like, F the system. I remember I was still having to go make online deliveries to the post office so that I could ship my stuff off. And one day I was in there with a line out the door and everybody had on a mask with me.
Well, I know they was crazy.
I'm doing a podcast.
Oh,
Hi.
I know you saw me.
I did, but I'm doing a podcast. I call you.
Yeah, you, I know you from Beaver Dam.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Sanchez.
Say it, fucking shit. You know I said your name today.
You did.
Oh, y'all. Dummy.
Bubba.
That was my ex-husband.
I'm trying to remember what he looked like.
Skinny, dark skin.
I think I know. I remember your face though. But yeah.
Yeah. Come on, let's go outside. Come on.
She got something with her?
Stop.
I can already
Years
tell
ago,
you
man.
now.
That was years ago. That shit was back when we were young 20s.
She don't even do this.
But
I forgot what I was saying.
we was talking about how the whole COVID 2020 was a great year.
I mean,
No, that conversation we were having, and I don't even know if that is the whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
about
I was looking at the videos and I was just showing, and I was just agreeing that I was one of those types that a lot of things we acknowledge and we take on and we don't have to,
And that's the thing. Like if you go through this stuff right here, raise your frequency, stuff like that won't even affect you.
It won't, because you're not living on a level of fear, or you don't feel intimidated, or you don't feel the need to follow the flock. You sit back and kind of question things because they vibrating on this little 200 down here, your frequency on 1,000 up here, so y'all not even seeing things or hearing things the same way.
For real?
Really?
I
It's
get
like
up in
being
the morning.
tuned into a radio station or like a walkie-talkie. In order for me to communicate with either one of y'all,
You gotta be on the
our
same
walkie-talkies got to be on the same frequency. If not, you ain't gonna hear me correctly, or
Right.
And so, yeah, right. And
I
so,
get up in the morning and be, I'm about to make my tea. Let me get my tea together.
you see what I'm saying?
And be waiting to sip that tea.
And that's how we
feel
all
that
should
thing.
aspire to be.
Even though I know it's more than just about tea, but that's just one thing that gets me.
Yeah,
Right.
one of the, it's like
Something to look forward to. You know what I'm saying?
it's like it's like approaching the day, knowing the elements that you have to,
Or right there in your possession.
yeah, it's like, it's like a puzzle. Like you wake up and you got a puzzle to fill, or a puzzle to put together. Just the tea is one element.
Yeah, that's a piece of it.
Whatever
The
supplement
reggae is a
you take
piece
is
of
an
it.
element. Meditation is an element.
Yeah.
All of those things that you're supposed to do on a daily basis to put that puzzle together for the day. Like, as opposed to, like I remember being miserable and shit, jobs and no real purpose. There is no. It's all just about doing what you got to do to get through it. There's no real. You don't approach it like that, like putting a puzzle together. You approach it like, let me just do what I gotta do to, all of those things are elements in the puzzle. Like, finding, purpose in general. Like, I found my thing that fits in that puzzle piece for me personally. And the supplements is another. Black seed oil, the things that you're supposed to do. When you have the understanding, it's like, nah, I don't want that fucking little bullshit burger. I want something real. It's like it plays into how you approach the day, how you approach the fourth hour of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all part of it. But you don't really know it until you go through it.
Until you put it to action.
Like, even people who, young people that might drink smoothies and shit, they don't really know.
They just doing it's trending. Right.
Well, even beyond like working out. When you young, you work out. You don't really know what you're doing. You young, you're gonna have a young body anyway. But somebody who's 40 and done lived a life and might not have worked out, might have ate shitty, might have been unhealthy. Now you know the reason for doing it. You know the difference in working out and not working out. You have to live it.
So you're saying take a little living to understand?
Yeah, it seemed like all this
stuff. A little bit of living to understand.
Like I took Scotch Emotion and different, fish, omega-3s and all that supplements when I was younger. But I just did it because I was told to do it. We never got sick, but that never played into my mind. You know what I'm saying? But now after, living and having gotten sick and being unhealthy, I know what I'm doing, why I'm doing it now. It's like, the intention behind it. That whole frequency thing is,
So
it don't play into that.
It's like feeding a child an avocado, but I have to explain to you what this avocado is good for. It
don't matter if you explain it. They still ain't gonna know.
If you explain it to them and you read the
they don't
benefits,
know how it feels.
Yeah, they're not gonna know it until they're older and understand. Okay, so the avocado has all this amino acid in it, and the amino acid is good for me because of what? Yeah.
You have to kind of be deficient.
But what I'm saying is, if you go ahead and explain it to them now, they'll get it later. They'll get probably sooner. You see what I'm saying? Right, they might get it in their early 20s.
Right. That's the approach we
early 30s instead of waiting until you're 45, 50 to understand it. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to use an example of how we do things against how I caught my mom one day. And it's just something that I caught her saying. Like one day, my mom still goes to church. They feed everybody on Sunday. So she had fixed her plate and brought it home. And she was fixing my granddaughter something to eat. She was fixing her off that plate. And she was like, yeah, you got the macaroni and cheese, you got this, you got that, you got this, you like. And my grandbaby was like, well, why I gotta eat that? And she was like, because it's good for you. And I thought, no the hell it ain't. Like, it's not good for us. And we need to quit lying to ourselves saying things are. That just means that we're not willing to be accountable for the choices that we made. We're gonna make it seem like it's okay because you're not gonna be hungry after you eat it, or it might taste good, when that's the reason now we're battling all these illnesses. So we gotta be real with ourselves.
So you don't like soul food?
I do love soul food, but I'm saying just because I love something don't mean it's good for me.
Well, I agree. Well, she's talking about more than the fatty stuff.
Yeah, I'm just using it as an example.
Fried shit.
But that's what I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to get to the understanding of which ones are you talking about. I understand the macaroni and cheese.
Ain't no good for us.
Right,
it ain't necessarily that it ain't good for us.
It's not nutrient. It's not nutritious.
Well, you got a bunch of different elements.
Put some green behind.
Look.
It's like,
we can try to justify it all we want. Chitlins at the end of the day is not
I ain't eat
good.
no chitlins.
I understand
never ate
that,
no chitlins.
but we will find a way to
Today,
justify something in our mind.
Like
Some people will justify in their mind why it's good for
Yeah.
them. And that's all I'm saying. We just have to be more realistic
We gotta
with
understand
ourselves.
what we doing.
Right. We
Right.
gotta understand that, yeah, I love fried chicken or whatever, or I love whatever, but if I consume that, you know, it's a possibility it's gonna do XYZ to me.
Yeah, it's a
And that's
reason.
what I'm trying to avoid
Boy.
is the XYZ.
Yes,
you
and
know.
then the child get diabetes, and you look like, guess we gotta take this medicine. Like
Right.
you're not
you know.
attributing the misunderstanding of food. You know, we gotta understand better.
Yeah, we definitely gotta understand better. You definitely need to tell kids stop bringing old TV dinners into the house.
Kids don't do that. Parents do that.
Stuff is no, that's what I'm saying. That stuff right there is no. Just because it got green bean, mashed potatoes, and it's still a TV dinner.
And it's
Yeah,
all
it's processed bullshit.
genetically modified.
Right.
That's why, and that's part of the problem because we're feeding the kids, the same poisons that our parents have fed us.
Well,
thinking
they
that-
feeding us worse shit, and that's another part we need to talk about. Like, food ain't what it was.
it wasn't.
Like, I try to have that conversation with my pops, and he kind of get it. He can never understand it because he come from a time where chicken was fucking chicken, and it ain't that no more. So, we eat the same stuff, but it ain't the same stuff.
It's not, and that's
And we
why
don't live the same life. We sit around, we on computers and shit. We ain't moving around.
Right, but
so
that's
that
why
contribute to,
Yeah.
it's a few things.
Like we was talking about the grandmother. Our grandmothers lived
Right.
a long time.
2 hours? Word? Wow.
Yeah, we 2 hours
Yeah, I guess
in.
so.
We 2 hours in, but
Oh.
and I definitely feel like we need to do this again.
Yeah, we on.
And cause I'm definitely gonna go back. I'm gonna look at this and I'm gonna extract some things, and we can do this again.
What we should do is we should come up with ways to do these vending things. Like, my whole thing is, waiting for opportunities and such. When Black Wall Street thing come around, blah blah blah. We can't be waiting for that kind of shit. We need to make this mainstream. Like
Every weekend thing.
people get used to seeing
everyday thing.
just like you said with the people who, the shops you go to, you frequent. People get used to seeing you, so you become that referral. You become that when I need such and
That
such, who do
staple
I
in the
call?
community.
Yeah.
A catapult.
When people think,
jump
okay, I
off.
need such and such, who do I call for such and such? We have to become those people. You know what I'm saying? To and make this a real career. Cause my whole thing is getting the fuck away from jobs.
Alright, we can talk about
Right,
that.
right,
off
okay.
camera. So we can talk about that.
Well, that's mental health, niggas. Just real shit. That's the biggest thing that changed my life.
Yeah, but we're gonna do this again, man. We're gonna
Jobs
extract.
have these fucking.
We're gonna extract some of this stuff out of here. We're gonna get her back, and we're gonna.
You still gotta
talk
get to
about
the
this some
virtuous
more.
woman and all that good
Oh,
stuff.
man.
Exactly.
So
We
So-
gotta have. I
so
told you we wasn't gonna get to
We're gonna
everything
have to.
today.
We're gonna have to talk about that another day. But
See, that was a free flowing conversation.
but this is your first one, so let the people know, how they can find you.
and we could do like a panel, a round table
Man, we
type.
know you got all these ideas, and we're gonna listen to them.
With
But
the different specialists.
Right now, we're gonna let her go ahead and close us out and let the people know where she's from, what she's doing, and the name of her business.
Okay. Again, my name is Deirdre Davis. I'm right here from Gastonia, North Carolina. My business is called Incense and Tings. That's Tings. Tings meaning I offer several different tings that could help you in your spiritual journey. Reiki is one of them. I also do divination readings. I have several products such as herbal teas, all natural hair and skin products, bath products, spiritual consultations. I'm an ordained minister, so if anybody wants to get married or do any type of marriage counseling or renewal or vows, I can assist with that. My services right now are virtual services. If I do in person, I have to come to your residence, which is no problem. And also doing mobile services, deliveries. So you can find me on Deirdre Davis on Facebook, or my business page is Incense and Tings. I am Incense and Tings, INCEENSENTINGS on Instagram. So go ahead and
Yeah, you could just lift one up.
Okay.
Show it. Oh, just lift the whole basket. The whole basket.
I got it.
Lift it. Look at it. Look, it's pretty. I like the way it looks. It's just so pretty.
And so, yeah, I've always
see that?
shared
They
some
can
of
see
the
it?
teas that I have. This is one of my newest teas. This is moringa with some ginseng and red ginseng. So this one was specifically made for people who may be experiencing a lack in their libido. I have some sour sop, which is a great anti-carcinogen, which helps prevent cancer-forming agents in the body. Apple cider, which is a great detox and metabolism booster. It also is good for upset stomach and nausea. So all the products that I offer have
this one I got is
healing benefits. Yeah, you got the last elderberry on
lemon
there.
ginger. That's good
Yeah,
for
The elderberry and
right?
lemon ginger,
Obviously,
it
that's
helps
done, that's
with
done.
boosting the immune system, and the lemon ginger, yes, can help with inflammation in the body.
Cool.
Yeah, so you can reach me again. Like I said, Deirdre Davis is my my public Facebook page. Incense and Tings is my Facebook business page and my Instagram page.
That's what's up. Glad you could come.
Thank you very much.
I enjoy
Check it out. Incense and Teens. Like, share, and follow this video. Muddy Water. We out.
Peace.